Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to the online class of English Literature for grade 7A. Here I am your teacher Mr. Snowla, and today we are going to formally commence our unit number 4, whose title is Myth and Folktale. In this unit you will find a couple of lessons, and all the lessons are having some supernatural or strange characters. Means the person who are not from our everyday life, whose thinking, whose philosophies, whose ideas are quite different from those of the people we see here and there. So you will find lesson number 1, whose title is Prometheus, from page 166 to 170. Before you study the lesson, please make a clear concept about a myth. What is a myth? A myth is a traditional story, especially one concerning the early history of people or explaining a natural or social phenomenon, and typically involving supernatural beings or events. What is a myth? A myth is a story created by a whole people or society over time that explains some of the wisdom or truth valued by that society, and explain why the natural world is the way it is, answer deep philosophical issues, and it will discuss the reason that exists between evil and good in this world. The first lesson, whose title is Prometheus, you have two main characters. The first character is Zeus, Z-E-U-S, Zeus, and the other character is Prometheus. The whole story is actually a dialogue or conversation between these two characters. Zeus is a supreme ruler, or you can say the god of all gods, while Prometheus is a common man, but he has some authority or ability to access the god. Means he can go to the god and ask some questions. On the other hand, Zeus has power, has got command and control over all the things. Things like people's fates, their livelihood, their earning, their way of lives, their education, their way of living, everything. He has got a control. And now, what are they talking about and what is the point of their discussion? We will see in the story. Please open your book on page number 166. I am going to read the text here. Prometheus was a young titan, no great admirer of Zeus. Although he knew the great lord of the sky hated explicit question, he didn't hesitate to beard him when there was something he wanted to know. One morning he came to Zeus and said, "O Thunderer, I do not understand your design. You have caused the race of men to appear on earth, but you keep him in ignorance and darkness." My dear student, actually Prometheus wants something from Zeus. He has gone to God and asked him to give him something. According to the ideas of Prometheus, the god, means Zeus, has not given one thing that the people on the planet Earth should have got. What is that thing? We will see. "Perhaps you had better leave the race of men to me," said Zeus. My dear student, as I told you earlier, the whole story is a dialogue or a continuous conversation between Zeus and Prometheus. So keep a clear concept and idea about the topic here, because every paragraph is either the question or answer. Now here comes the reply from Zeus. He says that, "Perhaps you had better leave the race of men to me," said Zeus. Zeus says to Prometheus that you are nothing to discuss the way the people are living to me. Okay, I am only one in this world to control all the things. What you call ignorance is innocence. What you call darkness is the shadow of my decree. Man is happy now, and he is so framed that he will remain happy unless someone persuades him that he is unhappy. Let us not speak of this again. In simple words, Zeus shows no willingness, or Zeus is not ready to discuss the question that was asked by Prometheus. But Prometheus said, look at him, means look at the common man. Look below. He crouches in cave, he is at the mercy of beast and whether he eats his meat or why. If you mean something by this, enlighten me with your wisdom. Tell me why you refuse to give man the gift of fire. Yes. Now here in this paragraph you will find a word fire. Yes. Prometheus wants fire for the people of his society or community. So far, in his tribe or in his place of living, the people have all the things, means they have access to get the meat and food and fruits and vegetables and all the things, but one thing is not available with them, and that is fire. The fire is totally a mysterious and enigmatic thing for the people so far. Only Prometheus knows what is fire, how does it create, and what are the consequences of fire. So he wants the gift of fire from Zeus to the people of his society. On the same page, Zeus answered, do you not know, Prometheus, that every gift brings a penalty? This is a way the fates weave destiny by which gods also must abide. Man doesn't have fire, true, nor the craft which fire teaches. On the other hand, he doesn't know disease, warfare, old age, or inward pest called worry. He is happy, I say happy without fire, and so he shall remain. So, the main idea of this discussion is that Zeus is trying his level best to convince Prometheus for the reason he has not given the gift of fire to the people on the planet Earth. He says that I have not inflicted any disease, any trouble, any mental worry, any old age, any problem, any disease to the people. So all these things go in the favor of people on the earth. So it means they are living happily and they will die happily. So if they are not having fire, so that's a good thing for them. Now here is an illustration. You will see Prometheus is on his knees and he has gone to the court of his god whose name is Zeus, and he is requesting, he is pleading the god to give him a gift of fire so that he could tell people how they can use it to bring some revolutionary changes in their everyday life. And here it is written in the caption, Zeus gets angry with Prometheus. Zeus declares that men do not deserve fire. Okay, we continue our main text here on page 167. Happy as beasts are happy, said Prometheus, of what use to make a separate race called man and endow him with little fur, some weight, and a curious charm of unpredictability. If he must live like this, why separate him from the beast at all? He has another quality, said Zeus, the capacity for worship and aptitude for admiring our power, being puzzled by our riddles and amazed by our caprice. That's why he was made. Would not fire and the graces he can put on with fire make him more interesting. More interesting perhaps, but infinitely more dangerous, for there is this in man too. A wanting pride that needs little sustenance to make it swell to giant size. Improve his lot and he will forget that which makes him pleasing, his sense of worship, his humility. He will grow big and poisoned with pride and fancy himself a god, and before we know it, we shall see him storming Olympus. Enough, Prometheus, I have been patient with you, but do not try me too far. Go now and trouble me no more with your speculations. Now here comes a very detailed reply from Zeus. He has again shown a very strong denial to the question of Prometheus. He is not ready to give the gift of fire. Rather, he is trying to convince Prometheus that the fire is not in the benefit of common people. They have been created to worship God and they are doing their work. In case the fire is not available with them, on the other hand, they also do not have any problem. That's good. Now here we will see the reaction of Prometheus in response to the reply of Zeus. Prometheus was not satisfied. All that night he lay awake making plans. Then he left his couch at dawn and standing tiptoe on Olympus, stretched his arm to the eastern horizon where the first faint flames of the sun were flickering. In his hand he held a reed filled with a dry fiber. He thrust it into the sunrise until a spark smoldered. Then he put the reed in his tunic and came down from the mountain. At first men were frightened by the gift. Now here somehow he has got an access to get the gift of fire. Now from the top of the mountain, means where the place of the god was present, Prometheus is coming down to his community, to his tribe or village, you can say. Now he is keeping that fire, means a little spark, in his coat, and he is going to show it to the people. How will it work? What is the phenomenon? All these things he will tell, or rather he will give a brief description about the fire to the people. It was so hot, means the fire was so hot, so quick, it bit sharply when you touched it, and for pure spite made the shadows dance. They thanked Prometheus and asked him to take it away. Now here you will see here, since Prometheus was very kind and knew humans needed fire, he disobeyed Zeus and gave humans the secret of fire. So Prometheus got fire with a promise that he will not tell about this thing to the people, but he disobeyed. He did not follow the orders of Zeus, and now he is going to disobey the orders of Zeus, and he will tell the people what is fire. But he took the haunch of a newly killed deer and held it over the fire. And when the meat began to sear and sputter, filling the cave with its rich smell, the people felt themselves melting with hunger and flung themselves on the meat and devoured it greedily, burning their tongues. Means for the first time, the people of Prometheus village had eaten the meat of an animal, that meat which was roasted or cooked on fire. Before this, for centuries, the people have been eating raw meat, means they were hunting the animal and eating the flesh and blood of the animals. But for the first time, they had brought some changes in their way of eating. Now here comes a statement from Prometheus on page 168. This that I have brought you is called fire. Prometheus said. No, actually now here he is giving a description or explanation about fire to the people, because fire is totally a new thing to those people. It is an ill-natured spirit, a little brother of the sun, but if you handle it carefully, it can change your whole life. It is very greedy, you must feed it twigs, but only until it becomes a proper size. Yes, he is telling, he is giving a caution to the people that if you handle fire easily and carefully, it will bring some good changes to your everyday life. It will make your life easy. But on the other hand, if you will make it of a gigantic size, then it can cause a trouble to you. On page 168, we have another paragraph. Here again comes a speech which is being made by Prometheus to the people. Then you must stop, or it will eat everything inside, and you will too. If it escapes, use this magic water. It fears a water spirit, and if you touch with water, it will fly away until you need it again. Of course, you know, if there is a fire and we want to extinguish it, so what do? We spray water. The same thing he is telling to the people that if you want to put off a fire, so what should you do? You must use water. He left the fire burning in the first cave with children staring at it wide-eyed and then went to every cave in the land. Then one day Zeus looked down from the mountain and was amazed. Means after a couple of years or months, Zeus thought, okay, I gave a gift of fire to Prometheus and I ask you not to give this thing to the people. I will see whether Prometheus has followed my commands or not. Everything had changed. Man had come out of his caves. Zeus saw woodmen's huts, farmhouses, villages, walled towns, even a castle or two. He saw men cooking their food, carrying torches to light their way at night. He saw frogs blazing, men beating out plows, keels, swords, spears. Now, this is the observation. This is the observation of Zeus. What he saw from the top of the mountain or sky, you can say, on the earth. Oh, this fire has brought so many changes in the way of people's life. Those people who are living in the caves, now they are living in farmhouses and wooden buildings and castles. Those people who are not even familiar with fire, now they were using it to make their way through the forest and woods. He couldn't believe it. It was quite incredible for Zeus. They were making ships, means the people, me are the countrymen of Prometheus. They were making ships and raising white wings of sails and daring to use the fury of the winds for their journeys. They were wearing helmets, riding out in chariots to do battle like gods themselves. On page 168, we have another paragraph. Zeus was full of rage. He seized his largest thunderbolt, so they want fire. He said to himself, I will give them fire, more than they can use. I will turn their miserable little ball of earth into a cinder. But then another thought came to him, and he lowered his arm. No, he said to himself. No, actually he is planning to take a revenge, because he is not happy what Prometheus has done to the people. Prometheus promised not to show this fire to the people, but he disobeyed, and people had got very good changes to their everyday lives. Now Zeus plans to make more trouble for the people, but he stopped himself. How? I shall have vengeance and entertainment too. Let them destroy themselves with their new skills. Now Zeus thinks that people have got fire for the first time. They do not know how much it can be troublemaking for them. So once the fire goes out of their control, they won't be able to contain it. Ultimately, the fire will bring a lot of problem for the people and they will kill themselves by using the same thing. They do not know how much it can be dangerous. This will make a long twisted game interesting to watch. I will attend to them later. My first business is with Prometheus. Okay, I will handle with the people later, but first let me deal with Prometheus. First of all, I will call Prometheus, I will summon him and I will punish him as hard as possible. He called his giant guards and had them seize Prometheus. On page 169, drag him off to the Caucasus and there bind him to a mountain peak with great chains, especially forged by Hephaestus chains which even a titan in agony couldn't break. Now here you can see, after a couple of years, Zeus called Prometheus to his court. Prometheus came, and when he came, so with the help of his guard, Prometheus was chained to the mountain peak as a punishment. Now here comes the punishment of Prometheus. Zeus was very angry with Prometheus for giving the secret of fire to the humans, so he chained Prometheus to a rock for many years as punishment. And when the friend of man was born to the mountain, Zeus sent two vultures to hover about him forever, tearing at his belly and eating his liver. So once he has been chained with a rock or mountain, Prometheus was unable to get himself free. He had no escape. He was bound to stay there. In order to bring more trouble to the life of Prometheus, Zeus, as you know, he is a supreme god, sent two big birds whose names are vultures, and those two birds starting eating the body of Prometheus. Men knew a terrible thing was happening on the mountain. Who means the countrymen or the people on the planet Earth or the villagers of Prometheus. They knew a terrible thing was happening on the mountain, but they didn't know what. But the wind shrieked like a giant in torment and sometimes like furious birds. Many centuries he lay there until another hero was born brave enough to defy the gods. He climbed to the peak in the excesses and struck the shackles from the Prometheus and killed the vultures. His name was Hercules. As you can see, no one came to that mountain to get Prometheus free from the trouble. He was still on punishment. Many centuries later, means after a couple of hundred of years, another hero came. He was brave enough to challenge the writ of Zeus. He killed the giant birds and get Prometheus free and gave him a liberty. My dear students, so far we have finished the main text of our lesson Prometheus. I hope you would have understood all the developments what have happened in the story. In order to get more clarity, please go through the lesson with the help of dictionary. You must read the lesson twice. Thank you very much and have a nice time.